Welcome back, friends, neighbors, and constituents to The Horror Returns. I am Lance. With me, as always, I got my co-hosts Philip and Brian and Steve.
What's up?
Going on, guys?
So we gotta make sure we include the constituents.
Yeah, you don't get that guest stamp no more.
Yeah, I know. I noticed that this time around.
Yeah, that's gone, baby. You're part of the team now. Where the fuck is Naz? God damn it! I fucking messaged him. I said, Naz, one of these trailers made me think of him immediately. Not just the Oakland connection, but for other reasons.
Naz at this time of the day is probably at work.
I'm sure he's hard at work trying to keep airplanes from flipping upside down and all that other good stuff. So
yeah. I don't think he's responsible for anything involved.
All right. So
at least he doesn't claim any responsibility.
Yeah.
I haven't seen any bullshit going on with the airline he works for. I'm just saying. You know, I'm just saying.
That's a good point. Good point. Good point. How are you guys doing tonight? Anybody got any stories?
Family's getting over being sick.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
That's a story.
Yeah.
Yeah,
man, no stories.
No stories. I didn't know we were supposed to have stories.
Threw my back out. That was fun.
Yeah, that's not fun.
Hold on. Dog barking. I'll be right back. You guys talk.
All right. Yeah, I didn't know we were doing story time.
I'm like, I came ill prepared. My wife had asked me today earlier. She's like, "Do you need to get anything ready?" I'm like, "No, I watched the movies. I'm gonna show up and talk about them."
I know. I can't ever remember a damn cool of the week. But I actually do remember mine this week. It's not.
I had to make sure that I had mine ready to go.
Let's jump right into it then.
Not horror related at all, but I watched the Black Hawk Down thing on Netflix.
Is that like the documentary?
Yeah, it's like a documentary thing. And so it's got like some of the Rangers and Delta guys that were actually there. And then they also interview a bunch of like the Somali people that were actually there.
Oh.
And they sort of give both sides of the insanity. And it was pretty great. Like I was very, very impressed with it.
Okay, it's on Netflix. What's it called?
Yeah. Surviving Black Hawk Down, I think.
Okay, Surviving Black Hawk Down.
Yeah,
gotcha.
And it looks like the movie was pretty true to the story.
Really?
But yeah, but this is like a real story.
That movie holds up.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a good one.
Good movie. Crazy shit going down.
Oh,
and it sort of gives you the whole story behind it. Like why the entire fucking city was attacking these guys.
Mm.
Yeah. Fun stuff.
Okay.
Nice.
Steve?
Well, I watched the finale of Cobra Kai. I finished up the final of that, and I gotta say, I'm a little mixed on it. On one hand, I feel like they had some missed opportunities in the tournament aspect, especially with some of the side characters just basically not having any role at all in the second half of that last season. But the way that they wrap up and give closure to the John Kreese and Silver storyline is like the best thing I've ever seen. It's so good because those two characters are so over the top that how they wrap up shit with them, it's just like bravo. Like it's so good.
The producers had said that was the most outrageous way they can come up with.
It was so good, and the line drop at the end, it was straight out of an 80s movie, dog. It was just like, oh yes. It was so good. And it was there was some emotions, like Johnny Lawrence and John Kreese had a scene that was very emotional.
Yeah, he was.
I was like, holy shit. Chops. Like, it was really good. And then there was this awesome scene with Miguel walking out with some like, I mean, there's some shots that are just, you're just like clapping. I was just like yelling at the screen. So good. Loved it. But there was some missed opportunities. But that's not my cool of the week. My cool of the week has to go to the Apple original movie, The Gorge, that just dropped. I've watched it twice since it dropped.
Oh, is that the one with
Miles Teller, Anya
Oh, yeah,
Taylor,
yeah, yeah.
Joy,
Anya Taylor, Far
Sigourney
Eyes.
Weaver. Anya Taylor
It looks
fucking
cool.
gorgeous. And
Yeah.
Sigourney Weaver is chewing it up as a bad guy. This movie,
For what
this-
little bit she's in, right?
yeah, this movie gives me faith in movies again. Like, this movie
Yeah,
felt
was
so fresh and so good, and the pace was perfect. Trent Reznor killing it with the fucking soundtrack. And there's a song that they play in the trailer and is in the specific scene in the movie where they're dancing. That song has been on a repeated loop in the house. It is The Gorge is everything right now. The Gorge is very easily my cool of the week. High recommend.
So question, was it based on a video game? Because it looks very, very video game.
No.
in
As
certain
far as I
spots.
could tell, it's an original
Okay.
concept. And I don't want to give too much away, but if you guys watch the trailers, you do know that at a certain point, our two main characters do end up in the gorge.
Mm.
And I'll just say that the shit that happens in there, the shit you see in there is like, yeah, who even comes
That's
up with shit
pretty
like
awesome,
this?
dude. Yeah.
And then the fact that they're able to explain it and you're like, oh yeah, all this makes sense. Perfectly buy it. I buy all this.
yeah, the different technologies and the different decades, and
It
it was cool,
so
dude.
fucking
I enjoyed
good.
it too, man.
Oh,
It was so much
good.
better than I thought it was gonna be.
Scott Derrickson, they're like, make a love story. He's like, okay, but I'm gonna have some fucking crazy monsters in this shit. Like, all right.
Yeah.
It's very, very
Great
good.
special effects. I love I don't want to give too much away. Maybe I shouldn't say it. I just love the way the creatures were like DNA spliced with animals, plants, humans, and
Mhm.
it was very interesting.
Yeah, Phil, the
way
skull
they
spiders
went on.
rule.
Oh,
Oh,
that sounds
fuck. In the church.
cool. I didn't know that movie was out yet. I'm gonna have to check it out.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
really
you
good.
got-
So
You got to, man.
highly recommend The Gorge. That is my cool of the week.
Is that yours too, Brian?
Well, it would have been, but I don't want to have the same thing. But it is a 100% recommendation. I thought Miles Teller and Anya Taylor Far Eyes was great in it. Scott Derrickson did an awesome job. The movie to me is reminiscent of that movie Annihilation with the creatures.
Yes.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, that's
That's what I was thinking of when you were saying it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But I have to let me do my non-cool of the week. It's not horror
Ooh.
related. The fucking NBA All-Star game.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
What a piece of garbage they did this year.
I haven't seen that in 20 years, dude.
Well, you probably
Playing
won't
patty
watch
cake?
another. No, they did a new format. They made 4 teams,
What?
and they did a tournament style where they played the first
Come
one to
on.
40
Huh.
to get the players to play the game, be more serious about it. So they had the rookie team, the Rising Stars, the international team, and then what they called the OGs, which was like LeBron and Steph.
Mm.
Okay.
When it got to the OG game, they still played the game like they didn't give a shit. They were shooting half-court threes and nonchalantly running up and down the
Uh-oh.
court. The only ones who played their hardest was like the rookies, which they didn't win.
Makes sense, yeah.
Ah.
But at least they gave you a show, right?
Yeah, it was complete garbage. I hope they don't do this format next year.
But then over at the NHL All-Star game, they started up the Canada versus United States with 3 fights in the first 9 seconds.
Yeah.
See, that's what the NBA All-Star game needs. They need 3 fights in the first 5 seconds.
That's because they were playing the Canadians. They booed the national anthem.
All right, let's move on. Let's move on.
All right,
Next.
week, since it's not the Gorge, I'll have to go with a new Shudder movie. I think it came out a couple weeks ago. Dark Match, wrestling
Dark
horror.
Match. Oh
Wrestling
yeah,
horror,
I've
okay.
heard a
Oh,
lot
I saw
about
that.
this.
I saw that on
I've
the
heard
app
a lot
over
about
there.
this. Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty decent. It's got some good gore. It's shot well. I don't recognize anybody except for Stephen Ogg. He's one of
Okay.
those guys, like, if you see his face, he's like, oh, I've seen him in a bunch of things. And Chris Jericho's in it.
Of course.
Of course.
and it is basically a independent group of wrestlers. They have their own little promotion. They get a gig in a town that they never heard of that's far away. They drive there. Town is real sketchy. Everybody's real sketchy, and they're trying to figure out why they paid so much money for their little independent group to come wrestle for them. And when the match starts, then the craziness starts, and it's revealed why the town's all weird and crazy. So
It's like
pretty-
Green Room, but wrestling.
yeah,
I might watch
makes
that
sense.
tonight when we're done recording. That's one
So-
that's been on my to watch list. So that's a 2025 release, Brian.
I think it came out last year, but I think it got released on Shudder.
Okay.
So
so-
I would count it.
Okay. Dark Match. I do want to see it.
So watch Dark Match, watch The Gorge. Just stop having the NBA All-Star game. It's like the NFL Pro Bowl. Just
Yeah.
stop.
What's the
I can't-
point? Yeah.
I can't remember the last time I watched a Pro Bowl.
Well,
I don't give a shit at all.
you guys remember the dude that injured himself in a flag football game several years back
Oh,
in the Pro Bowl?
Good
It's like,
Lord,
hey.
probably. Another thing about the Gorge, only PG-13, but does not hinder this
It doesn't
movie.
feel like PG-13. I could have
does
sworn.
not
Are you
limit
sure
it.
it was PG-13?
Well, think about it. There's not a lot of blood. There's not any real cussing.
Well-
There's not any boobs. It's pretty much all the markers for not having a rated R.
Look at
Okay.
kids can watch it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, the kids
they'll
can't
love
watch
it, dude.
Absolutely.
They'll love it.
It's really good.
Everybody in the family will love that one.
It's
Mm.
really good.
All right. So have you guys ever like gone to your day job or gone to work and wish that you could fall asleep the minute you walk into the office and then like magically be woken up when you come out of the office and live your regular life back at home again? You guys ever thought about that?
Yeah.
Yes,
Except
sounds
in my
amazing.
luck, I would be like the work life. You know, like I would get
Well,
that straw where I'm like,
see,
fuck,
that's
bro,
the dark. That's
every
the dark.
fucking day.
That's the dark half of this show. Have you guys ever heard of Severance?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's my cool of the week. Severance is in its second season now. And I hope it doesn't go too far off the reservation where it gets like too much into territory of like Lost. But they are definitely opening up some weird portals for us to go explore. But basically the premise of the film is you've got people, they're called the Audis, right? And they're the people who live their life on the outside, and then once they come into work, they go into an elevator, and the elevator like puts you to sleep, and then you wake up and you're a different person, but you're having to work your 9-to-5 job in an office. And those are the people that are called the innies, right? Because they're inside the office.
I was
but you
hoping
get-
that's what they were called.
it's kind of interesting because the way it's filmed, it's kind of like a dark comedy, but it's hard to describe, and I think that's what I like about it. It's part sci-fi, part comedy, and kind of part horror a little bit, but it's very interesting the way that these people that are the innies start to kind of revolt and figure out ways to go and take over the lives of their Audis for a short amount of time, and then they're back in again. And then the way the company treats them is just so subversive. So I don't want to say too much about it because the first season and the second season are totally different. You start getting like really weird storylines in season 2, but so far I'm in. Have you guys checked out any of the episodes yet?
Mm-mm. I would do that, man. If there was like a way that there was somebody was like, seriously, like you could take this pill and you will go to
Yeah.
sleep, and then you
Uh-huh.
will do all of your work and you'll do a great
Yeah.
job.
And they
you'll
do a
come
great
home,
job. Yeah.
And then you'll wake up. So like you just will never be at work, but you'll still be at work. I'd be like,
That's
yes,
That's the
sign me
premise.
up yesterday. for
That's
that
the
shit.
premise.
Sign me up.
Only problem is there's a dark side to it.
Oh, I
'Cause
know.
you still
My
got that innie.
person that would be working would be pissed.
Oh,
He'd be starting some
yes,
shit.
they are. Yes, they are.
He'd be fed
All
up
right.
with this shit, bro.
So that's it. My cool of the week, Severance. I don't want to say too much because it goes in some weird directions, especially in this second season. But Apple TV Plus, if you got it, check it out. We're talking Apple tonight with all of your artwork and stuff,
Mhm.
Steve. Tell it before we get out of cool of the week. Tell us a little bit about how you How you make those T-shirts happen, brother? What's the magic? What do you use? What
Oh,
what are
like
your toys to create
I,
this artwork?
everything I do for you guys is all done on the magic of my iPad. As a hobby artist, I don't have the tools of the fucking, of all the big studios, but I have my imagination and an Apple Pencil. So, in
All right.
in conjunction with the continuing of Apple sponsoring this episode, yes, all the artwork comes to you via Apple
sponsored
products.
episode.
Something else that came out on Apple that I forgot to mention was Silo Season 2. I finally watched all of that. So good.
Yeah. It is
Have you guys-
good. I
have you guys
I
seen
am
Silo?
watching Silo too.
No.
Yes, I'm watching it.
I want to. I'm a fan of
Oh,
Rebecca
yeah.
Ferguson.
That show is. I could
She's
not
kind
get
of a
into the
badass.
books. The books
Really?
bored me to fucking tears. The books bored me to tears. But my wife
Yeah.
loves the book. She says the books are great. I really liked season 2. I thought Steve Zahn's character was phenomenal. So.
She's good in it. Common is really good in it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's
Tim
definitely got a
Robbins.
great role. Yeah, Tim Robbins is good. He's kind of like the who would you compare Tim Robbins to? It's kind of hard to say,
He's
right?
always just like he's always
Sort
just
of
running
his-
around like he's always just you know what
He's
I mean?
definitely
Those
Sort of his
Ace.
own little guy, man.
It
He's weird.
All right.
It's a great show.
is a great show. Okay, so that's cool of the week. So Brian, do we have any horror headlines?
Barely. And nothing really new came out this week. As you will see when we get to Trailer Park, I had to change it up a little bit for Trailer Park.
Okay.
But we got, you guys familiar with I think this was a DC Black Label horror comic called Basket Full of Heads?
I've heard of it,
Nope.
but I'm not familiar with it.
After my time.
Well, they're doing I don't know if it's a series or a film adaptation, and Natasha Lyonne is going to star and produce it, and
She's good.
Anna Lily Apor, I think she's the director of that Iranian vampire
girl.
movie.
A girl
Oh, yeah.
walks home at night alone.
Yeah,
Mm.
she's directing.
Okay.
Very cool.
So,
Although the movie she did with Momoa in it wasn't very good.
Which one was that?
The one with
the Bad Batch.
the smiley face. Yeah,
Oh,
the Bad
yeah,
Batch.
I
Not
know.
the best movie.
Oh,
I
didn't
wanted
that
it
have
to be
Jim
good.
Carrey in it too?
Yeah,
Yes.
Jim Carrey was like a hermit, and
That was not
Keanu
a
had
good
like a
movie,
porn
though.
stash.
That was not
Right.
a good movie. That was
Wasn't
like that
great.
reminded me of Southland Tales. But like I actually like Southland
Yeah,
Tales
you're
more,
right.
but like just weird, just off the wall. But Southland Tales was like that. But when that Justin Timberlake scene happens, that makes up for the whole movie.
It's pretty badass.
So good.
It's a pretty badass scene.
Have you guys seen a shark movie called The Black Demon?
I have actually, yes. It
I've heard
wasn't
of it.
good.
We saw the
So
trailer.
you're
I don't
probably
think I
not
ever saw the
excited
movie.
for the sequel.
No.
Oh no, boy.
The Black
just
Demon
bad CGI.
Atlantis.
Atlantis?
They're going to pit giant sea monsters against each other in this one.
Well, now
So they're
you
gonna
have
find
my
Atlantis
interest.
and then like crazy shit's gonna happen? Like this is why we should never have come
Boy.
here.
Ouch. This sounds
Just
horrible.
watch The Meg and The Meg 2.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
I don't know. I'm happy about Atlantis monsters. I'll totally watch that.
Phil,
Well,
they'll
Brian
probably
will probably make us watch.
it'll probably just be Atlantis in the name.
I know.
Nothing to do
Shark
with
movies are weird. I saw this shark movie the other day. It was like called like In Too Deep or Too Deep or something. It had Richard Dreyfuss and fucking Stuart Townsend. Like it had some names in
Oh
it,
come on, dude.
but it was hot garbage. Like the scenes of the fucking shark eating was like an actual like stock footage shot of like a shark eating meat. I'm like, what the fuck? You can't do that, can you? I guess you can.
Woo!
You can
Oh,
put
boy.
that shit out. Make money.
Why not?
I'm putting it on the list.
Uh-oh.
You gotta get the actual name. I'll look it up.
Yeah. Anybody interested in the Nosferatu extended cut? It will be on
No.
Peacock this Friday.
No.
I still haven't seen the original.
I don't know that I need like extra footage of it. Maybe I don't like it as much as I thought I did.
It's just gonna be extra close-ups of Lily Rose Depp.
I
Super.
know.
It's called
Big
Into the
forehead.
Deep.
Huge nipples. Into the Deep. Okay.
Into the Deep. It's a
the Deep,
2025 movie. It just dropped.
Oh,
Brian. No.
Yes.
Are you serious? Then maybe I will have to watch it. God damn it. Fuck you, Steve. God damn it.
So this group of tourists gets kidnapped by a cartel and made to dive to get these drugs that are down the bottom of the ocean, and that's what a shark's are.
Oh my god. And it is on Prime for rental. If
Well,
I can't find it
it's
out
out
there
there.
free, I'm not going to watch it.
and they've got
It's out there. It's out there in HD, and that shit loads
Yeah,
quick.
well, it better
Ain't
be
nobody
out there
trying
on
to
my
lock
free
this one up.
sources.
Or they could be
Boy.
heroin sharks, but that probably wouldn't be as exciting.
No,
just sort of
they
you know
just
what,
got
I-
Sleepy.
They would just
I
float
bet
there.
that I bet that one loads quick because the ones you really want to watch
Right?
don't.
Right.
They be buffering, or like they'll like the server
True.
doesn't work right. You're constantly like, what the fuck? But then some of them like, damn, that worked quick.
Yeah.
Like they want
It's-
this to be pirated.
It's not available on my free source, so I'll watch it one day maybe. Oh, here it is with 1 star,
Yeah, it's
2
it's
stars.
Really
Wow.
1.5 stars.
bad. Richard Dreyfuss looks like somebody wearing a Richard Dreyfuss suit
Is he even alive still?
walking around.
Or is that just CGI like the Star Wars thing?
They can't afford CGI. You should look at the fucking sharks in this.
Why would he
Oh.
do this movie?
I'm out.
I mean, it was funny
Have
when
fun,
he showed
Brian.
up in Piranha 3D.
I guess.
Yeah, but that movie, there's something special about those Piranha
Right.
movies. Those
Yeah.
are fun. They have a certain campiness to them that allows them to
Right.
have those people. But this movie wanted and thought it was like doing some serious
Oh,
shit.
Piranha 3D has the 3 Bs: blood, boobs, and beasts.
That's true.
I mean, the sequel was Piranha 3 Double D. So
Do you
that
remember the
gives you an
trailer?
idea.
It was just like titties bouncing. Like
It kinda
girls
reminds me
running.
of
It was
the,
just close up on that.
The end credits of Howling 2.
Greatest end credits ever.
We'll get into that.
Shit
We'll
was
get into
hilarious. I was like, we're just gonna keep doing it. All right. Well, I guess I'll just keep watching.
It was on time. It was on the beat with the music. It was
I know,
on
with
time.
all
I
the-
was like, oh.
And then the googly eyes of different people
The
between
one guy licked his lips at the end. He's like,
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Takashi Yamazaki, I probably pronounced his name wrong. The director of Godzilla -1 is currently writing this script for the sequel, and they will have a bigger budget
Oh,
for
nice.
the sequel.
I'm all in. I loved
Yeah.
it. I loved it. Brian, you weren't
I
as
did- I did
excited
too.
as I was.
I thought it's definitely a better Godzilla movie than Godzilla Kong. I just had more fun.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah,
that's
it's
fair
like
It's
a
enough.
not-
serious Godzilla movie.
it's not nearly
Yeah.
as fun as Godzilla
Yeah.
versus Kong. You know, there's no giant monkeys throwing other giant monkeys at each other. But but like I loved when like Godzilla was small, kinda like like a dinosaur from
Sure.
Jurassic Park almost, rather than the big kaiju that he turns into when he attacks that first base. I thought that's what we were getting for a while. I was like, ooh, that's scary looking. But
Mm.
I really liked that movie. I thought the storyline with the human character, I thought that a lot of it didn't have anything to do with Godzilla,
Mhm.
but I didn't feel like it ever lingered too long. So that never took me out. Like in that fucking goddamn one with Cranston in the brother and sister
Oh
that
my
were
god.
brother and sister in Avengers, and then they were married in
Yeah.
this one. They was too close. They came out too close together for that to work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was like in between Avengers movies.
Creepy.
Where you
Like,
just
dude,
instinctually
super
go,
creepy.
Wait a minute,
Yeah.
that's weird.
Super creepy.
But that movie, like that movie was anti-Godzilla. Like every time it was about to show you Godzilla, it cut to somebody else talking about something that didn't have nothing to do with Godzilla. I'm like, fuck this movie. But I don't know. I didn't think that human in Godzilla -1 story wasn't too distracting.
It was for me. I didn't give a shit. I wanted more Dan Stevens, and we're getting more Dan Stevens in the sequel.
Yes.
Good. It should just be
I'm
it should
sure
just
we
be
are.
Dan Stevens hanging out with King Kong, running around doing shit. The
that-
Adventures
if
of Kong
that
and
is-
Like a
Stevens.
buddy comedy?
Yes.
If Dan Stevens doesn't have 10 roles this year, something's wrong. He needs to fire his agent, because with the great shit he gave us last year, including the Piccolo, we got to have more.
Abigail.
You know, I rewatched Cuckoo. He plays the Piccolo like twice in the entire movie. It's not like he just entered every scene with a Piccolo playing.
That's his thing. He's a weird guy.
All right, I'm looking at the news. There's nothing.
All right. Steve, you ready to head on down to the trailer park with your boys here?
Let's go.
All right, Brian is going to bring us the big, the small, and sometimes the very, very weird. What is our first new trailer tonight, Brian?
Like I said, a little something different for Trailer Park this week. No new horror trailers.
Okay.
But
ish.
Yeah, they're horror adjacent, distant cousins of horror. First one we got is Freaky Tales, a new crime comedy drama with dual directors Anna Boden and Ryan Fleck. This stars Pedro Pascal. It says Tom Hanks.
I didn't see him.
It would be awesome to see him in some weird fucking role, you know? Oh.
He probably was in the trailer. He's probably just in makeup or something.
I didn't realize. I need to go back and look for him because I didn't even think of that name.
Yeah.
Angus Cloud, which I believe this is the final movie he filmed.
Okay.
And
I was wondering. I was like, wasn't that guy dead like 3
That's
movies
what I
ago?
thought too. And then I was like, maybe I gotta stop thinking people
he
are
was
dead.
in
I gotta
Annabelle.
quit wishing death on people and shit.
Not Annabelle. Yeah, Annabelle, right?
Yeah, no, Abigail.
This movie sold me.
Okay.
Looking through the cast list, Too Short is in this movie playing a cop.
I love it.
Yeah, Brian, I didn't know this was even a movie, but the amount of fucking the year it takes place in, the videos, the amount of coverage video stores get in this trailer alone, I was like,
it had you. It had you.
This is barking up my tree. I think this trailer looks fucking awesome.
And just with the soundtrack, man.
Mm-hmm.
That was pretty cool.
Everything was all synthwave. It was great.
Yeah.
I do have a feeling we're not going to get a lot of Pedro Pascal in the movie.
Well, it seems to me like it's going to be told a non-linear storyline. Like it's going to be bouncing around. Like it looked like the trailer opened up with somebody with a gun to his head. So it looks like we're going to have one of those John Travolta gets shot in the bathtub, and then he's still in the next 45 minutes of the movie.
Oh,
I gotcha.
Is this something he filmed like on a weekend when he wasn't filming any of his big franchises?
Could be.
I know, it feels like some of these guys ain't letting nobody else eat. I'm like, damn, Pedro. You got this. You got The Last of Us. You got Fantastic Four. You got what else you got? What else you got cooking?
I know.
God damn.
I know.
Yes, it is Tom Hanks. That Tom Hanks. He plays Hank, the video store owner.
Well, there you go. Makes sense.
Interesting.
All right, this comes out. Probably should have had all this pulled up. This comes out this year. I'll just say that.
Okay.
Noise.
That looks pretty good. I like it.
Now on to our second and final trailer. According to this trailer, this is the comedy hit of the year. But this felt very horror-ish.
Yeah, I agree.
The way it built up.
Yeah.
It just started getting darker and darker, and the music was hitting.
Yeah.
And it just kept popping up. Next comedy hit.
I know, over and over. Biggest comedy of the year. Funniest movie ever.
And that is
Woody Allen, eat your heart out.
This is Friendship, starring Paul Rudd and Tim Robinson and Kate Mara. I saw her in there.
They're definitely misleading us. This is not a comedy. This is not I Love You, Man.
Right.
I promise you.
Do you think that the story stays true to the trailer, or is the trailer just completely misleading?
I think it's going to be super sinister. I think there's something really fucking weird going on here. And it is an A24 movie. So
Yeah.
they're known for pulling weird side gags on us.
I'm looking
So
at IMDb.
I'm excited. I'm fucking
looking at
excited.
IMDb. It's not labeled as anything other than a comedy, not comedy drama, not.
That's cool.
It looks
Keep it that way.
dark. It
Pull us in.
looks dry and super. I believe it is going to be a comedy, but it's going to be one of those super dark black comedies.
Yeah.
Like you're just like uncomfortable to laugh. Like some shit's going to be genuinely hilarious, and then there's going to be other times where the movie wants you to laugh, but you don't feel right laughing. You're like,
Yeah.
I got the
fuck.
feeling that this movie could have been called The Stepford Bros. And we'll see if my theory plays out or not. But there's something going.
I see
there's
what
something
you're doing
going
there.
on. There's something
I don't
weird
know.
in the background
thought-
going on here.
I feel like just that song and dance number in the trailer just was like, this guy's just overwhelmed with like, holy shit, I can have real friends and be like the real, and then to realize like, yeah, but we don't.
I like
you.
how he goes into those fantasies of him and Paul Rudd driving in a Corvette.
Just laughing with sodas.
Is that a fantasy or is that a thing that happens?
I'm over here like,
We're gonna
dog,
find out.
You're married to Kate Mara. Why don't you just shut up about all this? And
Yeah,
go
no
home?
kidding.
Just go.
Go home. Have you seen Shooter? Go home, dog. You got Kate Mara at home.
All right, this is going to be a big A24 year for Paul Rudd because he's got this and he's got Death of a Unicorn.
Oh wow! Holy shit! Okay,
Death of Unicorn
that one
was
I'm
really
looking
fun
forward
too.
to. By the way, yeah.
More Jenna Ortega and Skinny Plemons.
I think he's also in the Anaconda remake, isn't he?
Yeah, they keep him and Jack Black keep posting these little announcement videos. They just posted one a couple weeks ago with the revealing the cast for it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
They're building the hype, man. They got to deliver the goods. You can't be building
We're
the hype
all
if you can't
in.
deliver the goods.
Oh
Dude,
yeah.
They
Steve,
look like they're having a
we're all
blast with
in.
it.
Of course we're all in, but it doesn't mean it's going to be good. But you never know.
True.
But I mean, take it the comedy route, I like.
It's already with the cast announced because it has Thandie Newton in it. I like Thandie Newton from Westworld.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But the cast announced it's already better than the Anaconda sequels.
Well, none of the Anaconda movies were good. Not even the first one was good. They don't have a huge bar to clear.
That's true.
That's what's gonna make it awesome.
It could be better than all those Anaconda movies and still not be a good movie.
Well, yeah. But that's a success.
All right. Friendship comes out March 9th.
Oh, right around my birthday. Nice. Okay.
That's it.
All right, I guess that's my cue here. We got some listener feedback. This week we shine the podcast spotlight on the Splattercast YouTube channel. Good evening, campers, dreamers, and babysitters, and welcome to Splattercast, hosted by the diabolical duo of Dylan Newell and Luke Janisco. We got an email. Oh, so check out the Splattercast. Sounds awesome. And we got an email. It says, hey, Horror Returns team. Couldn't help but feel a chill run down my spine as I immersed myself in your latest episode. The juxtaposition of Getaway alongside Goosebumps discussion perfectly highlighted the evolving face of horror. It immediately made me think of Brandon Morgan, renowned for weaving eerie narratives in The Devil Within. His expertise in true crime and supernatural mysteries would resonate with your audience's love for all things horror. Diving into topics like the satanic elements in the Jersey Devil, Brandon could bring a unique twist to your show. Would you be open to featuring him?
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I'm
cool.
doing an interview tomorrow. Philip, you're in with me, right? Tomorrow?
Oh yeah. I'll be there.
Anything
Right.
with the Jersey Devil, cryptozoology, anything with that shit, I love. Creature stuff.
We need to do more interviews again. Last year we were down on that, but before that we did a lot more. So, folks, don't forget we literally interviewed Art the Clown. before he was a huge household
Yeah.
name. So let's get those interviews going, right?
Yeah, it's I love it when like you've been doing it for so long that people forget what you've
Yeah.
like. I had
Yeah,
somebody go, you guys should review Exists for 31 days. I'm like, man, like we got a
Yes.
screener for that and interviewed the director like
Yeah.
a long time ago.
One of our first big interviews was Dee Wallace.
Oh, I
Yeah.
remember that. I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna
Yeah.
say, friend of the show. But yeah, man, I would be happy to talk to him. Thanks, Brandon. And we got Kate Pollock says, I love Final Destination. And Glenn Cougar Melon Brewer says that's because you have good taste in movies.
Okay.
That's
They are
the
pretty
Final
awesome.
Destination, not
Yeah, the Final
Destination.
Destination was not my favorite, Kate. Sorry.
Yeah.
Which one was
cheesy?
the?
The one with
The
all the
fourth
water
one.
kills in it.
So-
The 3D.
The racetrack one.
Yeah.
So you guys
Yeah.
watched all the series. You did the whole retrospective, right, of all the
So
Final
far.
Destinations.
We're gonna
We're
do
4
the
in.
5th one with the new one when it comes out.
So
Okay.
what is your guys' favorite death so far, or whatever, from all the movies?
The falling glass, the plate of glass.
Oh, that was a pretty good one.
That splats the
Yeah.
little kid in part
Yeah.
2, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, although
okay.
I did love the gymnast. I think that one's going to be in 5.
That's
right?
my favorite. That's
What's the age of that kid supposed to be?
He's 2011. You
'Cause
know what I
he's,
mean?
like,
He's
smoking cigarettes and
he's
making jokes about it.
but his
the
mom's
dentist-
taking him to the fucking dentist, so I don't know.
Yeah,
You know?
and then he makes a joke about the dentist. If he molests me, we're not paying for it. But then when he sees the birds, all of a sudden he's like 7.
He's like
he starts
12,
clapping
yeah.
his hands and
I
stomping his feet.
know.
Like
I know.
he you don't know if he's gonna carjack you or jump in a puddle. I just don't know. I don't know what this guy.
Somebody wrote that didn't have children.
The gymnast
Oh,
death is
my.
my favorite one.
Yeah, I think I might have to go with the gymnast death because they set up so many scenarios that you thought it was going to be, and then the final outcome is not what you thought it was going to be.
Well,
No,
true.
because
Yeah.
even though that
Wait.
girl crumpled, that other girl still has a fucking rusty ass air conditioner screw lodged in her foot, and I'm like, she's
Right.
got shit to deal with too.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah, that's true. I think
Ooh.
the new movie's gonna give us like way over the top Rube Goldberg shit, right? Because like
Yeah, I
the
think so.
the scene we saw with the tattoo artist with the fucking nose piercing and all that bullshit,
Oh, yeah.
like all the weird shit happening. Hopefully we'll get more of that, right?
Can only hope that wasn't, that was just a throwaway one that they gave us to wet our whistle.
Well, there you go. The Final Destination, probably not the best one, but
Yep,
it's
sorry,
actually my
Kate.
least favorite.
But me and my daughter did watch 5, and I'm not spoiling anything. It does bring it up from the 4th one
Nice.
a
Okay.
lot.
Okay.
All right. And Peter Dinklage joining the cast of Dexter.
Didn't we talk about this?
How will he fit into the plot?
Where is he going to fit into the timeline?
He can fit in anywhere. He's small.
He's going to have to jump.
Pedro
Hands on the
said
climb
like he's a person. He'll just fit in. That's what happens with people in the world. They just exist, dog. It's fine.
Madison Estes says, no way. I love him. Yeah,
It's like,
I think,
but
I think it'll be fun.
It'll totally ruin when that one scene when Michael C. Hall was like, "Holy shit, I've never seen a midget before." And you're like, "Wait, but how?" He said that in season 2. I don't understand.
Episode 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see. In regards to class of 1999, James Bod says, absolute utter cheese fest. What a laugh.
Absolute
Fun movie.
awesome cheesy fucking nostalgia fest.
Yeah, we rewatched that
Love
one
that
this
shit.
week also. Classic
shit.
line. Pam Grier comes out, gets exposed as a robot, and that one gang member's like bionic tetas.
I love gangsters and punks from 80s movies. I'm just like,
Oh, yeah.
I'm not intimidated by any of you. It's so
You're not intimidated by the eyeliner,
none
They're
of it.
always
They're
so
just
over
like,
the top.
Come on,
tight
Jack.
pants.
Just like, oh,
Come
God,
on,
so
Well,
good.
we may see some in our movies tonight.
I love it. I love it.
In regards to the Street Trash review, Mouths of Madness says, thanks for sharing. No problem.
Nice.
Mouths of
Uh,
Madness. I love the name of that podcast.
Yeah. In regards to The Exorcist, Anthony Cadiz says, the greatest ever made, none compare. I agree.
None of the sequels.
Yep, you and me both, Philip.
Yeah.
It's both our number one. Brian's is The Thing. Steve, what's your number one horror
Which is
movie
also
of all
awesome.
time?
Ooh. Give me a minute. I'll have to try to.
Okay.
That's a hard one. You just
That is a hard one.
drop it on me like
Jaws? Jaws,
Yes.
maybe?
Yeah, Lance. First, you want us to do story time in the beginning. Now you're trying to get top horror movie
I
of all
know.
time.
I know. I'm really
Got
putting
Steve
everybody
looking
on
at
the
his shelf.
spot. I get
that.
it.
Yeah, I am. I'm looking all around because I know I have it. I know I got it. The only thing that's coming
Hellraiser?
to my head right now is, man, it's I like Dream Warriors the most.
That's a
great.
good
That's
one.
a badass
Fucking
one.
A, dude.
I
Far
really
and away
like
the
Dream
best
Warriors. Like it's
Yeah.
that
I
you
do
could
too.
stand that alone from all the other Freddy Krueger movies, and that is just
Yep.
a fucking perfect movie. I love
I-
everything. I still listen to that Dawkins song, bro. So
Yep. I love it. Great choice, dude. If you stick with that, great. If you change your mind, let us know.
All right. In regards to the Serpent and the Rainbow,
That's a good one too. That's a good
Anthony
one too.
Cadiz says, highly underrated and forgotten movie. I don't know if I've ever seen it.
I've never forgotten it.
With Bill
Wes
Pullman?
Craven.
it's a good one.
Yep. and the
Voodoo
midget.
shit.
And
It's
there's
all
a
about
midget in
voodoo.
it. There's a midget in it.
I think there's
Steve.
more than one, Lance.
How did he fit in the timeline?
What's the term when there's multiple? Is it midge-eye? How does it-
Midge-eye. The gift of the midge-eye.
What's a flock of them called? A murder of midgets, or what's a?
That sounds terrifying. Let's see. In regards to Stranger Things season 5, Andrew Rutherford says, "So don't care."
For real,
I
these kids are
know,
all
they're-
fucking old as fuck now, and they're gonna be like,
That's what
they're
my-
all still sophomores in high school. Like, no,
I
they're
know.
not. That one's
I know.
married with children now.
Yeah.
38-year-old sophomore. Yeah.
Yeah, I seen an article.
Really?
I forgot where they were asking why do these streaming services take 2 to 3 years to put out seasons of a show?
Hmm
Good question.
I don't know, man. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, I guess they have a lot of production, and they're basically making one giant long movie.
Well, we got
Every time,
we also got fucked, right? We got 2020, which shut a million things down, and that
True,
2020
true.
isn't just 2020. That's 2021 and most of 2022. And
Yeah,
then you
that's
had
true.
the
Okay.
strike in Hollywood that went from 2023 into
Oh,
2024.
fuck,
Yeah.
that's right.
So
Also
we're barely coming out of all of that shit, and finally things are starting to get back into production. But now everybody's mad, so nobody wants to do anything.
Mhm.
It's
Wow.
it's hard getting anything done these days. Put it that way.
Great explanation. All right, and Brian released a poll that says, "What is Robert Eggers' best film?" And The Witch is way out in front with 63%.
We'll see what he does with his werewolf movie, though.
Yeah.
I'm excited about that.
I'm not.
Josh Miller says, "I haven't seen Nosferatu yet, so in order, well, it's already in order for me. Although I do wish The Northman got more love. It's pretty great."
I keep getting roasted for not loving that movie, but I was just like, when it was over, I was like,
I know,
like-
dude. Like, it was The Witch and then downhill from
cool.
there for me.
like it was some of the visuals were cool, but like I didn't buy Ethan Hawke as a Viking for a second, and then
Yeah.
like,
Well,
you know,
he was only in the movie for a second.
I know, but he should have never made it that far. He was that's a small man. He would never last in the Norse times, you know? Like, he's a little guy, Ethan Hawke. He's a little guy.
Are you saying he's a midget?
He didn't fit into the timeline, is what I'm saying.
We're gonna have to delete this episode. All right, that's it for listener feedback. Our show intro and all of our logos come from Steve Carlton from the Geeks right here.
More
There
to
you
come.
Oh, yeah.
Made on an iPad.
Brought to you by Apple.
Our original skull artwork comes from Natsulani. We don't know what she made hers with, but could be an iPad. And if you'd like to help us out, please consider becoming a Patreon patron. We'll let you pick the movies for a future show at any amount, and for $5 or more a month, also pick a commentary for a future bonus show. All right, on to featured attractions. We're doing our Howling retrospective. I don't know how many of them there are, but there was at least like 6 when I
There's fucking a lot. There's a lot more than I thought there was.
Yeah.
Like, I just picked this on a whim, you know,
Yeah.
like Brian was like, one day he's like, what should our next retrospective series be after Korn is done? And I'm like, I don't know. I like werewolves. Have you guys done the Howling movies? He's like, no. I'm like, let's do that. But like, I didn't even think about it. They're not good.
There's one. I'm not gonna say which one. I can't wait till we get to it just to see Lance's review.
I'm excited about tonight's review.
I
I
know.
actually started digging around and watching ahead a little bit on some of them that I didn't even recognize. Like I poked in a little bit on the Howling
Marsupials?
Reborn. No, I've
Oh.
seen marsupials, but Reborn, the one that was in 2011. I'm like, let's take a look at this one. Fast forward a little bit just to see, boy, that is some fucking blue lens flare, fucking CW nonsense. Oh boy, I'm like, oh man, we are in for it.
That's all right. Well, these were worth it.
So sorry,
Uh,
Lance. I don't mean to bring more werewolf movies to you so quickly after the Wolfman, but
Dude, this is
Yeah.
the year of the year of the snake. Fuck that shit. This is the year of the werewolf so
I was
far.
gonna say, man, we watched a lot of werewolf movies in the past
No
few
shit.
weeks. We'll start with the original, The Howling from 1981. After a bizarre and near deadly encounter with a serial killer, a television newswoman is sent to a remote mountain resort whose residents may not be what they seem. Director is Joe Dante, also known for Gremlins and Rock and Roll High School. Writers are John Sayles, Gary Brantler, and Terry Winkless. The final transformation had to be done all in close up because the movie had exceeded its budget by then. And this had to be shot in Joe Dante's office because they had no money for sets anymore. Oh, wow. I'm kind of impressed with that, actually.
hell yeah.
Steve, you want to start us out on The Howling?
Yes. So let's not get it twisted. It's not a good movie. It's not well acted. It's not well edited. It's not well paced. The music is fucking all over the place. Like there's supposed to be 10 scenes and there's some fucking weird bum 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 weird fucking bouncy
Carnival
music in the
music,
background. I'm
right?
like, what the fuck is going on? Well, I don't know what this movie wants me to feel right now. Lots of boobs. But the werewolf transformation that you just talked about in Joe Dante's office still, to me, sits as one of the best werewolf transformations. This is right up there with American Werewolf in London. This is
Yeah.
top quality shit. This is good
Same
shit.
year. Same year,
It's-
right?
You can see the seams, but I love that shit. I love the creativity and just see all the practical work and knowing that how much work and craft and just care and love went into all that. Very cool werewolf design. So I thought at the end of the day, I think this is a really cool werewolf movie. I don't think it's well executed and well done, but I think the werewolf parts are fucking awesome. I loved the creepy town in Northern California that they go hang out in and everybody's werewolves. I like that big, we'll get into some details when everybody gets their piece in because I have some thoughts about like they kind of sealed their own fate, those dummies. But but I actually had I went into this thinking it was going to be a lot worse than it was. It's been a long time since I've seen The Howling, and I actually walked away kind of liking this one. 1981's Howling I thought was pretty good.
All right, Brian, what do you think?
Yeah, classic werewolf movie. Not my favorite, but everything with the werewolves is spot on. The transformation. I like that when they attack somebody, they're just not attacking and biting and clawing. They're like that one girl in the doctor's office. The werewolf backhands her and throws her around the room. Like they're more vicious in this one.
Yeah, right.
I thought the cast was great. Dee Wallace. We got other little bit parts from big names like Kevin McCarthy, John Carradine. Dick Miller shows up.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah,
I love the
I
guy
don't really know what
that
to say about it.
that just has the box of silver bullets. It's like,
Oh,
hey, you
the-
want these? Like, fucking never came and picked them up. That guy from Gremlins, he's in everything.
They were all back.
Yeah,
He backordered him and never came and got him. Like, that was like thousands of dollars. Solid silver bullets. Come
that
on,
guy
man.
shows up later and he drops what looks like maybe $20-$30 and he tells him to bill me.
Yeah.
He doesn't even know who you are.
Like,
I
that's
know.
like a $17,000 box of fucking bullets right there. And there's like 4 of them. You can't just go in there shooting willy-nilly on a whim, you know?
Yeah.
And
They seem to have an
never-
awful lot of them, though.
Never trust anybody that says they have a place called the Colony that you have fun at
Like-
and
Like
relax.
The Prisoner. Remember we did the Prisoner retrospective?
Yeah.
This gave me some Prisoner vibes.
I don't, but you guys all saw how it was when she first showed up to that place and they were like playing their banjos and cooking weird rabbit stew and shit. You're like,
Yeah.
I
yeah,
wouldn't have
burning
even
the
stayed the
rabbit.
night at this motherfucker. I'd
Yeah.
have been like, nah, bro, I'm cool.
Well, see,
I'm out of here.
I'm good.
they had that reaction because she even says, "Take me home."
Yeah,
But
that's
then
true.
that girl comes
Right.
up to her husband.
He knew he was gonna get it in, so he was like,
Yeah,
nah,
'cause
you know,
even-
we should just stick it out.
Even the other werewolves were like, "Oh, she's an
He
info."
kind of blew her off though early, you know.
Well,
Which
his-
I wouldn't
He's
have.
playing hard to get,
His
bro.
wife was right there. He
Okay.
had to blow her off.
Fair
And that whole
enough,
business
fair
in the
enough.
cabin, he was just cementing that it was gonna happen when he walked away from that. He's like, shh. You see him look her up or down before he walked away. He's like, got you. And then he left. I was like, damn, power
What a
move.
pimp! What a
Because
pimp! Right?
what's the
Power
first
move,
thing?
Roy.
What's the first thing he
Golly.
does when he turns into a werewolf? He goes and fucks that girl.
Yep.
Well,
Yeah.
wouldn't you?
He's like, I got to now.
In fairness.
Yo. And I wasn't sure. And then that campfire scene happened, and I was like, yep, sure now.
And I thought the end scene was hilarious. The Dee Wallace transformation scene.
Into a chinchilla. The fuck was that?
Well,
She
Which is
transformed
even-
into she was a were-gerbil.
Which is even worse
Oy.
in the next one.
She looked like an Ewok.
a werewolf.
When end credits on a burger being totally cooked wrong.
Right.
Yeah, I know. I was like,
I know.
who the fuck
Did-
cooks their burger like that?
Like, and I know everybody
Well-
notices it. I know everybody knows it. Like when that one part of the burger falls off, and then he like just kind of pushes it back into. I'm like,
Moves
that
it,
ain't gonna
yeah,
fucking
yeah.
do anything.
Kind of irritating.
Yeah.
Well,
fucking
she did
fair.
say rare, but he looked like he was cooking the fuck out of it, right? Like that wasn't rare. Rare, you
He
just
broke
kinda
it in
flip
half when he
and
flipped it over.
again.
Yeah.
I know.
What a goober.
Anyway.
We're dissecting the wrong parts.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
It was a weird end credit scene though. Lance, what do you think?
Yeah, so I mean, so my favorite werewolf movie of all time is definitely American Werewolf in London. Like,
Mhm.
yeah, like that's an awesome one. But watching this one for probably the 4th or 5th or 6th time, I've seen this movie quite a bit actually, and I'm kind of thinking I might like this more. I really enjoyed this fucking movie.
Should have had Tim Davis on here. He made a comment on the Facebook page.
Did he? And
Said
we didn't read it.
American Werewolf in London is his all-time favorite, and you can't change his mind.
Oh.
No, I don't.
I wouldn't
want
to change anybody's mind. For
Yeah,
that one. That's a good
it's-
movie.
yeah, that is probably still my favorite, honestly, because the transformation scenes were amazing for one thing, and then the story was good. But I mean, this was a fun fucking movie, guys. I mean, you got the whole first 20 minutes, which is where Dee Wallace is meeting up with the serial killer because she's a reporter, so it's her job to tell the story and, you know, bring the news, but it's not her job to necessarily get him arrested. So she kind of
It's
goes
also
in.
not her job to go meet a serial killer in a fucking dirty movie house
And that's what
watch
was
porn
kind of,
with him.
I know
Weird.
that's what was weird about it. And then,
Yeah,
like, he stands behind her and grabs her shoulder.
It's like,
Right,
watch,
I like
It's like, oh my
I like
God.
how they lose communication with her, and they're just kind of like, well, that's it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So what? I'm not sure what we should
Start
do. Her
blasting.
Yeah.
her husband's like,
Maybe
what the
not-
fuck? What do
maybe
you mean
not
you
the
lost
smartest.
communication?
See if there's any units in the area. I was like, see if
Did
there's
I-
any. They weren't already there.
I know.
I
think
know.
this is
What do you mean
I know.
if? What are you talking about here? Yeah,
Guys,
that's-
did I miss something in that opening scene? Because remember, they were watching a movie about a girl like being tied down and her shirt ripped off. Was that part of the werewolf cult?
See, you paid
Or was
attention
that-
more to that movie than this movie.
I
Oh,
paid
I don't
attention to
know.
it,
I don't think so.
but maybe it was just random. Okay. Anyway,
Well, he was
I
making.
just,
He was saying something about the girl in the video, how she lied, and
Oh, maybe you're right because he is from the werewolf cult, so maybe he took that video because that was his video that he was making her watch. So maybe.
yeah. I mean, they could have gone a little bit more into that, and that might have made more sense.
I
But
don't-
yes, once she was advised to go to the colony, it's like everybody. I love conspiracy theory movies, guys. Y'all know this. And once she was convinced by her psychiatrist to go to the colony, and her husband was like, "Oh, it's cool," and she's like, "I don't know about this. Can we turn around and go home?" And while they're in the car, he's like, "No, give it a chance." I'm like, "Okay, everybody's in on it, right?" So it's
Oh,
like
you
a
thought this was
Rosemary's
like-
Baby
yeah.
type thing.
I see. What
Yeah,
you're saying.
and I was like, I was really fucking digging that. And then they go to the colony. You've got all these weird characters. They're like super cool, right? Like all these amazing, you know, like you said, the guy, you know, cooking the rabbits, or the chick cooking the rabbit stew, and then the guy turning the meat on the spit over the fire, and they're all like on this, you know, we already
Yeah,
know Northern
they're fine.
California.
Well,
They're
John
very good.
Carradine.
It's the guy wearing the animal skins with the buck teeth whittling and the fucking banjo. That was
John
the shit that
Carradine-
made
John
me fucking-
Carradine was ready to end it. He was like, I can't take no more of this.
He
But
was.
then they calmed
was
him
ready.
down. But then they calmed him down. So
He was like, there
loved,
needs to be
I
an
loved all
end.
that. I loved all that. I think the werewolf story was like spot on. When I was rewatching this, I was thinking this may be my favorite werewolf movie of all time. And the transformations were good. They weren't as good as American Werewolf in London, but they were pretty damn good,
You know what-
man.
you
Good
know what else it
special
has?
effects.
It has the setting, the proper setting. You need that
Yes!
forest setting.
Yeah.
My favorite werewolf movie of all time, Dog Soldiers, has this. It's not the Pacific Northwest, but it is a forest setting. I feel like you need that. And the husband walking
you
around with his
do.
puffy vest, his blue puffy vest, and his yellow shirt, and his tight jeans, and his white sneaks. There's something about that fit with his haircut that I'm like, it's just nostalgia, man. This feels like a good werewolf movie when I see that fit.
Yeah.
some of the photography, right, where you would see the trees and the fog through the trees, and it all tied into the werewolf mythos to me perfectly. And then I had
Well,
no
speaking
problem
on that, I
with-
like that we were learning about it as those two were investigating. We were learning with them. They were calling out everything that would come into play later, like dismembering the werewolf, and then they would regenerate body parts back.
Yeah.
Oh, the friends that got called in the middle of the night and were like, "What? Your husband just got attacked by a wolf?" The fuck?
Oh, that
Okay, I guess yeah.
that guy's a horrible husband.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, you head up there now, and I'll hang out here for a bit, and then I'll follow behind you. Like, what the fuck do
What
you
a
mean?
dick.
Because they're investigating werewolves probably
Like,
do exist, and
it's-
then their
it's
friend
LA.
gets called. They get called.
yeah, because they're also
they're-
reporters, right?
It's
yeah, their
L.A.
fr-
It's a 6-hour drive to work, like, but you go ahead and go first. Like, damn, like gas prices
I'll
were
meet you
great
there.
back then. And like,
I mean, you gotta read the signs. I mean, they were even watching a wolf cartoon. when it was going on.
Oh, I
It's like
love that.
all
I
the signs
fucking
were pointing at
loved.
the werewolves may exist.
Yep.
I'm
I
not
love
gonna
that
send
they
my
tied
wife
that
up
in,
there
Brian.
by herself and then go to the
Yes.
office.
They tied that in, and then they were watching the original Universal Wolfman movie at certain parts, and
Yeah.
I just think it was a
also-
masterful film. I
He
really
he-
enjoyed this.
he cares not at all about his wife. Like
yeah.
he goes back to the fucking station to film Dee Wallace's confession. Like his
I
wife
know.
is dead. He
Oh,
hasn't
he
even
had-
like processed it. He has.
he
I guess
had
he doesn't
no-
know. Maybe,
No,
but he doesn't give a shit to look.
she told him, "Where's such and such?" And she's like, "Oh, he's dead." And then he had no reaction to it.
He's like,
Yeah.
oh,
Just like
let's
stone
go.
face.
We gotta get back to the station.
He didn't like her.
I was
anyways.
planning on. I was gonna ask her for a divorce. Anyways, to be honest, it's kind of tidy shit up for me. So yeah.
This
They
kind
like
of
her
worked.
anyways.
This kind of
You got
worked,
that-
right?
You got that scene when the phone's ringing and he's like, "Oh, I'll get
Uh-huh.
it," and he's like sliding her out the bed.
Yeah.
That's right.
Get out of here. Go out. Don't you have somewhere to be? God damn.
Ah, man.
Now he gets
what do
the
you- what do
insurance
you-
payments.
What do you think, Philip? I enjoyed this quite a bit.
Yeah, I actually had a pretty good time with it too. I watched the Howling 2 first, because I
Interesting, okay.
found that one on Tubi, and then had to go track this one down. So after the ridiculousness that is the Howling 2, I was like, oh, this one's like kind of a legit movie. And it kind of is, man. I thought it was pretty good. I had a really good time with it. I like the design of the werewolves. The ears were a little much, maybe, but I thought it looked good, man. I liked the transformation scene. Obviously, not as good as American Werewolf in London, but I mean, that's the best one.
Real quick, as we're talking about the Howling, I think NECA just announced that they're doing a figure of the
Mhm.
wolf.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
Sideshow Collectibles has a quarter scale statue too that is incredible. But
And another
way
thing,
too
do you
much
think
money.
this is where Werewolves was trying to go for with the look?
Okay.
I think so.
can see
Yeah.
that.
I
Sorry,
think that
I
was
sorry.
the
know.
goal.
I know.
Yeah.
I don't know what
And-
the fuck Werewolves was going for with the look. I
And
hate
that's-
that movie.
That's kind of what it's all about, is the design, and I
Ugh.
think they had a pretty good design on this one. Like,
Did you
they
watch
looked
that yet?
menacing. Werewolves, yeah.
I mean,
We've all
no,
seen it.
Brian.
Oh,
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay. I didn't
it's
hear you
it-
finally
it's
comment on it.
exactly what you guys said. You and Phil's review on Werewolves is probably one of my favorite reviews ever.
That shit was
That was a good one.
I was so mad at that movie. It was so much work to get to a theater that was even showing it, and then to leave and be like, for that? Like, I was so mad.
And even though I sat and listened to all the spoilers, when that little girl was like, "Yeah,"
I know.
it was just
That shit was terrible.
That's funny.
Like, I face palmed in the theater when that happened.
You weren't the only one.
No, but yeah, but I had a really good time with this one. It's one this one I think I've seen before, but I haven't ever seen any of the sequels until now.
Okay.
So this should be an exciting journey. But we're off to a great start. I had a really good time with it.
I love the
Nice.
old school effect, but before CGI, when you couldn't do that, you'd actually have to animate over the top of the film cells. 1989's Batman has
Yes, there
a great
were a
scene
few
of that
scenes-
where the Batman turns around in the opening and you see his cape kind of flow. That's all hand drawn over the film
Oh.
cells.
Yeah.
It's not
There
It's
was
not a real
definitely
person.
some hand drawn shit.
in this one,
right?
when
right
the two
scene.
worlds are fucking at the campsite.
Yeah.
And it goes back and you see it in silhouette and he's like, oh, like
Oh,
it's
yeah.
all drawn. It's all hand. Like, I was like, damn, it was
was fun, though,
somebody
right?
got called up and was like, all right, I got a job for you. Now hear me out. I need you to draw something. Hear me out. They're gonna be two wolves fucking. Now wait, don't hang up. So good.
Doggy
I-
style, I
The
presume.
conversations that must have gone
Wolfie
on
style.
to get these movies made, like it just I wish I could have been a fly on the wall. Like the
I know.
people, the
out
productions
there.
would have been so much chaos. You know, they ran out of budget and out of time. They ran out of money and nowhere to film their shit.
But it worked.
But they were all
But
still
it worked.
passionate about it. You know.
Yeah.
To
so much
rock
fun.
that transformation scene when your budget's already dead is pretty awesome.
Agreed.
I liked when you saw him at the end after he got the acid thrown on him or whatever, and he's walking around and
Right.
like half his fucking face is off. Like some of those makeup
Yeah.
effects are great.
Yeah, that was pretty good actually. That's a good idea.
He gives the guy the gun. He's like, "Here," and then he immediately gets shot with a silver bullet. I'm like, man, that was a bad decision, bro. The worst fucking thing you would have like smelt it or something, holding that gun, like
Right.
Was it just me, or did he have unlimited silver bullets?
Yeah.
It seemed that way,
Unlimited.
didn't it?
And it
For
didn't
sure.
matter where you shot him. It was like you could graze him, dead. You know, you could
I know.
hit him in the tummy, dead.
There's
But
an
I guess
awful lot
that's
of
silver
wolves in
bullets.
this motherfucker too.
Well, and then he's like, there's like 6 of them, and they're all like, bah, you know, they're doing the thing where they just growl and like show their teeth, and then he like
Yeah.
points the gun, and they all back up like this, like and they all back up like and then they shut the doors on him, and then they're like, let me out. I'm like, well, why'd you back up to begin with if you didn't? Like, you were already outside. You put yourselves there. They're gonna light it on fire, and they're like, "Oh no, we're burning in the fire." I'm like, "But you did it. Like you made yourselves go into the burning building of straw and wood." So dumb.
Like
It's like the
Three Little
big bad
Piggies
wolf.
story.
Yeah.
Yep, that's what I was thinking.
But then you
Alright.
get the great scene at the end when Dee Wallace goes to the thing, and she's like, she starts transforming, and everyone's like, "Oh no!" They're all shocked. The guy's like, "Cut the camera, cut it!" And when it finally cuts back to her face, and it's quite obviously like a very small miniature that they've done a massive close up on, because like I don't even know, it just looks so weird.
It didn't
Just
look
looks
like any
it
of
looks
the
like a
other wolves
stuffed
in the
animal,
movie.
like being
Yeah.
turned to look towards the camera. It's just silly shit.
And then they shot her live on camera.
Dead.
Yeah. Well, seems like if she could have controlled it, they.
I like that old guy at the bar too. He's like, "Nope, that's real. There was a werewolf, and they shot her."
Yeah.
All right, Jim.
I forgot about that guy.
And credits.
All right. What's your score on it, Steve?
I'm gonna give the Howling on the Howling scale. Like, this is the best Howling movie. I'm gonna tell you that right now,
Yeah.
off the top. This is gonna be the best made Howling movie.
Better than the marsupials?
Yes, this is better than the fucking one that takes place in Australia. Yes.
I'm curious about that.
I'm gonna give this an 8 on 10. Howling, the original.
All
Howling.
right. Brian?
I got a Price is Right at 8.5.
Oh, how dare
Nice.
you.
Wow.
Lance?
8 on 10. 8
Wow.
on 10. This is my second favorite werewolf movie.
Nice. Yeah, I'm gonna go 8 also. I think it's a classic. I think this one is actually a legitimately good movie. Like the rest of them
I do too.
seem to go into very insane places, and this one is just fun.
But some of them might shock and like amaze you at the crazy places it goes, which may help the rating. Like,
That's
it
also
wasn't
true.
We
great, but
shall
like
see.
it went fucking nuts.
Right.
We shall see.
Real quick, how do you guys feel about the last thing I heard was Andy Muschietti, who did the newer It movies, was going to direct a new Howling movie.
For Netflix, I
really?
heard.
I'm
Yeah.
all for it. Yeah, I'm all
Except
for it.
that he's got to do Batman and he's got to do something
He's-
else.
I know.
and
He's not
Batman
doing
is-
Batman. He's not going to do Batman.
I actually really, well, I loved his It movies, but I did not like The Flash. So, you know, and he said some weird shit about The Flash. It's like, people don't like The Flash. I'm like, oof. You can't say that, bro. People do like The Flash a lot. There's 10 seasons of a CW show that were already
Yeah,
with
that's
that.
true. I didn't hate the movie, The Flash.
I didn't hate it, but it wasn't very good.
Yeah, it wasn't awesome. But yeah, I think I'm gonna agree. 8 on 10. All right. On to the next one. We've got Howling 2. Your sister is a werewolf.
They say the thing in the movie.
Several
many
times.
times. Yeah.
Several times.
From 1985. A man discovers that his sister, guess,
Was a werewolf.
You want to know who? His sister was the fucking Dee Wallace character from the first movie.
Yeah, that was awkward the way they presented that, but we'll
But
get
when
into
they-
that later, I guess.
Did she
I had
get
to look it
buried
up.
did she get buried in another country?
I don't think so. It was just a different. It was like Oregon, but like, yeah, it was weird. It did feel like a weird place, but like, it was just so weird that they were like, "This is her," and they showed
I
the
know.
newscast, and it was like, "What
It
was
was
that?"
totally
werewolf
different
suit?
scene, different werewolf suit. Yeah,
It looked like a
Pretty
Sesame
bad.
Street werewolf. It looked like a
pretty
Muppet
bad.
getting shot. Like somebody shot Elmo on the fucking news.
Oh no! Don't shoot Elmo or the Count. 1, a 2, a 3.
3 silver bullets. So a man discovers that his sister is a werewolf and helps an investigator track down a gang of the monsters through the United States and Eastern Europe. Director is Felipe Mora, also known for I Was a Communist Werewolf and Pterodactyl Woman of Beverly Hills.
Oh, he's got a whole thing going.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
Writers are Gary Brander and Robert Sarno.
The
Sybil
guy
Dan.
that wrote the Howling books actually helped with the screenplay for this. So-
Really?
Yeah.
Let's see. Sybil Danning was tired of having to go topless or nude so often in her movies and wanted
Well,
to remain clothed for this one.
She had some assets to. I understand why people were in demand of that.
Yeah, hey, you paid for them. Let's go. The producers disagreed, but in the end, a compromise was reached, where Danning would do a single topless shot.
Okay.
She was very
One
angry.
time, right? And that's
She was very angry on watching the finished film to find that the ending credits featured this shot no less than 17 times.
It's like a smash cut of her ripping her shirt off over and over and over again. It's glorious. It's really good.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
It's pretty good.
Director Felipe Mora didn't know that Sir Christopher Lee was a war hero in Czechoslovakia. This was not something he was allowed to talk about. But during World War II, he was part of an intelligence agency, so when they showed up to film this movie in Czechoslovakia, he was greeted with a hero's welcome at the airport when they arrived. That's when Felipe first found out about his past. How he had been involved with the killing of one of the top Nazi officials, Reinhard Heydrich, and everything. Felipe couldn't believe it. One day, he took Felipe to Prague to visit a church. He remembers Sir Christopher Lee saying, "Dear boy, please come with me and let me tell you about what I've seen." And he took Felipe inside the basement and proceeded to tell him a story about how this was a place where people had been trapped by the Nazis, and some very terrible things occurred here. It was such a profound moment for Felipe because he realized just from where Christopher's gravitas came from. He had seen true horror firsthand in his life, and he used that in his performances. He was also a Nazi hunter for a couple of years after World War II. Christopher lived such an intriguing and complicated life, and most people don't have any idea who he was beyond being such an iconic actor.
Wow.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Yes.
That's pretty awesome.
Fucking A, dude.
Yeah.
All hail Christopher Lee, man.
Yeah.
And he's a heavy metal enthusiast. So
Oh, really?
you get
I didn't know that.
too. Yeah.
Cool guy. All right, Steve, what'd you think about The Howling 2?
That's not a good one. It's not a good movie. It's poorly acted, poorly paced. The werewolves are shit. You don't even really get to see werewolves. You get to see like the face of one kind of
monkey
rolling
suits,
around.
right?
There's a lot of ladies.
There's
going,
werewolves fucking.
like, there's a lot of like people
Wow.
like stretching their hands out and like growling like ah at the screen, but like not a lot of anything else. There's a lot of weird sex scenes of guys just going like, there's a lot of that shit. Sybil Danny's walking around in some cool fucking outfits, like Mad Max outfits that I don't really know, and she's like, but like it's like it cuts to like Christopher Lee and these people doing some shit, and then it cuts back to Sybil Danny like watching all these weird half people like rolling around with each other, like moaning, and then she's
there's
like
a weird orgy scene.
Like
There's this,
that
and she's like, Stefan is coming to stop us. He can't stop us. I'm like, stop what? What are you even doing? You're just fucking rolling around. You're just hanging out in this house.
doing a handstand in the background.
I noticed that. Did you notice that?
That?
Like all these people are growing around. This is two legs fucking kicking in the air. What the fuck? It is. You got Christopher Lee in some weird ass like Neo Matrix glasses, hanging out in the dance club. Like this movie is all over the place.
The same new wave band playing the same song.
The same song
over and
over
over and over.
That was
There's
he was the guy that did the music for the movie, obviously.
You know what there is?
They paid for that music.
Mhm.
They're gonna use
and
it.
you know what there is in this movie, Lance? You know what there is in this movie, and it fit right
What's
into
that?
the timeline. Was a fucking midget running around doing some shit.
And, yes.
And then he was evil. He came back and he was like, "Hey, Stefan, hey!" Like, that shit was creepy as shit.
Oh, after his eyeballs exploded out his head.
A werewolf movie. A werewolf movie. This is not. A weird ass movie. This very much is. I didn't like it very much though. There's some fun to be had, but it's just kind of a weird all over. It just threw a bunch of shit at the wall and to see what would stick, and just not much did. So there's my 2 cents.
Brian, what'd you think?
Fucking love this movie. This movie's so fucking weird.
It's crazy.
All the characters are weird. Everybody's fucking all the time, or I guess they're fucking because they're laying in bed going. Christopher Lee.
They're like fake biting each other, like.
Right? Nibbling.
The one guy, the werewolf powers are, I guess the mythology is weird in this one because Sybil Danny.
Homegirl's got Sith powers.
Yeah, she's got Sith powers. The main guy that she's having him fuck her daughter, the other hot werewolf chick. He has the ability to smell people fucking because he smells the two main two fucking, and he's just like, woo.
They do.
And it was just constantly weird, like Ric Flair woos instead of howls throughout this movie.
Right?
I did like the breathing in that one young girl to make her young again. I thought that was cool.
Mhm.
But like the weird. But I was taking a big notice at like the surrounding people, and like all their outfits are really dumb. There was just like some weird, like doughy fucking 45-year-old guys with like weird leather bracelets on, standing there. All schlubby, holding like a fake
Hey,
ass.
listen, they only have
with
so much
Sybil
at the
Danning?
dominatrix store.
What was with Sybil Danning's like cloak that she would move it to the side and you'd have all this glowing red CGI?
Weird
What was, I guess
werewolf
pre
powers.
CGI. Okay, all right, fair enough.
I like
Steve
her.
told you she was
Thank
a Sith.
Yeah. bro,
Okay,
she was
thanks
a
for
Sith
explaining
Lord.
it.
Darth Sybil.
Oh, I like
But-
that idea.
Her outfit, that black and gold one, is iconic.
Yes.
Christopher Lee, I don't care how bad the movie is, that guy's gonna lay
Chew
some
up the scenery?
credibility to. He's gonna lay some kind of credibility to it, in my opinion. Just the way he was
He-
delivering
he-
his lines.
He acted
was
the
in a
way he
different-
always does.
Yeah,
He
Very
was
good.
he was acting in a different movie than everybody else.
Yeah, he doesn't phone it in.
Like I'm actually kind of glad they didn't have him in very many scenes. Like he did a lot of talking around people, but not with people.
Mhm.
And
Mm-hmm.
and the one time he did that would stand out was like at the grave or at the funeral with the
Yes,
girl from the first
yes.
movie, and he's talking to her brother out in the front, and her brother's like, "Would you get out of here and take a hike?" And like his acting is so fucking bad, and like Christopher Lee's just standing there looking at him like, ugh. Like, you could just see it in his face. And like Christopher Lee did better acting in looking and walking away than that guy did in his whole
Yeah,
monologue.
fair
It was
enough.
fantastic.
Fair enough, man.
And I didn't like how other hot werewolf chick, she just gets stabbed at the end. She doesn't put up no fight.
I know.
And they
all
say
the
she's one of the most
sunglasses,
dangerous
wearing
werewolves that there
sunglasses.
are.
Mhm.
And Christopher Lee just takes his little titanium, because some werewolves are immune to silver. Takes his titanium blade and just stabs her, and that's it.
That's it.
And she's like, "Oh no, you found the one other medal." Ah. And then he like hugs the other one to death, and they both catch on fire. He's like, "You're gonna burn, bitch," and she's like, "You are too, motherfucker."
Oh, because
I
they're
thought that was
supposed to be brother and sister.
Yeah, weird. But I'm like, she was super old, and she's done this more than once. So like, if they're brother and sister, then that means he's probably done this too, because they were talking like she's done this several times.
Well, they were talking like they were fucking back in the day.
Yeah.
She just kept saying, "You never could resist me, Stefan."
Yeah.
I was like, "You were fucking your sister."
Well, I mean,
Times were
civil
different
dating.
1,000 years ago.
You know what I'm saying? And if it was 1,000 years ago when times was different and your sister looked like that, come on now, dog. You know,
So
the nearest woman's like 400 miles away on horseback through the fucking treacherous ass.
So what
times.
is he?
He's Stefan,
Is
werewolf hunter.
I'm more curious about what the fuck was living on the end of her staff that went after that one priest.
Oh,
Went in his mouth.
Did it fuck him in his mouth?
I mean, it did something.
Something like that, yeah.
Because
And
then
it went all the
something
way
came
in
out
tail.
there.
It took its tail and face fucked him.
It did the
Like
face hugger
Alien.
move.
Like
And then it went
Alien.
that
all
was
the
his
way
tail.
in. Remember, it came out at the end. It was like hiding in there. It came out at the end like, ah! Like,
Yeah.
Gross.
This movie's
But still,
fucking wild,
you know
dude.
what? You know what? None of that shit is werewolves. Not a one of them.
That's a good point.
Not a one of it.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough.
They kind of turn. I think it's like you just see people with patches of hair, and then there's a shot of some people running through the grass at night that look hairy. I think.
This is werewolf adjacent, because like
Yeah.
I said, somebody would partially turn, and then they just go woo.
And then like I didn't understand the brother and that other reporter. They go to the
Claire.
hotel, and they're like, one room, and he's like, no, two
Yeah.
rooms. And she's like, one room is fine. And I'm like, come on, dude. And then he gets to the room, and he's like, we need to leave. And she's like, would you sit down? And he's like, no,
Yeah,
we have this to do.
sit
She's like,
down
would you
while I
hold me?
fuck you.
And then they started getting at it. I'm like, she has to beat you over the head with this shit, dog. Like,
No
would you
shit,
just,
what a dumbass, huh?
golly, flew halfway around the world, and you still can't fucking think straight.
Although then they go right back out into the town where everybody is dancing 24/7, and
Oh,
he's
and
like,
then he loses
Hey,
her.
yeah, he's like, hey, home dude, watch her for a minute, I'll be back. I'm like,
The
you don't know
creepy
who this guy
bellhop
is.
Yeah, I'm gonna go buy her a gift. But then he comes back, no gift. Where's the lady? Oh, that one guy totally took her up the mountain to rape her because you're dumb for leaving her with a fucking townie.
And she's like,
know?
oh yeah,
Funny.
okay, makes sense. Let's go. All right, Lance, what'd you think?
I was 10 minutes into this thing and I was like, what in the fuck did you fucking assholes make me watch? Because that first Howling movie, it's almost a masterpiece, right? Like I said, it's my second favorite vampire. It's my second favorite werewolf movie now for sure. I love the original Howling. But as the movie went on, and as they got toward Eastern Europe, and as you got into these weird cult, fucking bizarre, like, I mean, you guys know that I love movies having to do with, the woods and the old country,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. I'm starting to be sucked into this movie a little bit. Slowly but surely, I'm starting to be sucked in, and then I see those wonderful tits, and I'm like, okay, I think I'm totally in now. And then it's like, you guys are lowering a mask onto me and making me like go under into this weird, bizarre drug that you're feeding me while I'm watching The Howling 2. And I don't know, something funny happens 30 minutes into this movie, and I'm a complete fan. I fucking loved it. I love the midget that was throwing knives and like part of the deal. I fucking love the bizarre werewolf characters. I love Sybil Danning from start to finish. I love the fetishes. I love the orgy where people were wearing leather and just fucking. I love the weird fucking designs where the werewolves looked more like monkeys than werewolves, except for the face. Something about this movie just totally got me, pulled me in, and just sucked the life out of me. Because I absolutely love The Howling 2 for completely different reasons than I love the original one.
So bad it's good.
Let me put it to you this way. This is one of the few movies that we've done for the podcast that I watched, and then the second night I watched it again just to see all the fun stuff I missed. And Christopher Lee hamming it up.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And why were they wearing sunglasses? It made no fucking sense.
You just kept them on too. I was like, man.
Look, this is why I keep accidentally saying vampires. It was like a vampire mythology. They were in Transylvania, for fuck's sake. But it was werewolves.
It was so weird. He's like, you need to go with me to Transylvania to kill the werewolves. You're like,
oh my God,
okay.
This totally fucked
I'm
with my
in
head
too.
Finish.
Like,
I loved it.
Could you imagine having the financial freedom to just be like standing there when somebody's like, we're going on an adventure, and be like, I'm in.
Yeah.
And then you just go. Like the next day you're in
Awesome.
Transylvania fighting werewolves and shit. You're like, I got to go back to work on Monday, but like, this is fucking awesome.
I was so worried that I was going to hate this because it was going to be a garbage fest. But like I said, 15 to 20 to 30 minutes in, I was so into this movie and just loving all the over-the-top shit. My score may be better than The Howling for this. It won't be, but it's so bad it's good. Why was this movie not on our March Madness, Brian? Why is this not seen as one of the classics of so bad it's good?
I had nothing to do with picking none of the.
Well, because it reminds me a lot of like Rock and Roll Nightmare.
Okay, go on. Yes, there's a lot of Rock and Roll Nightmare in here, Philip.
Yeah.
Your turn. Let's go.
But yeah, and that's where I land with this movie. Also, it's so bad that it's good. It is totally wacky. Nothing makes a whole lot of sense. But by the time the werewolves were rolling around in bed and like sort of having sex and kind of just going, I was dying, and I had a pretty good time with it, man.
But there's scenes too where like there's like somebody will do something and it'll cut to like a werewolf like in the background watching, and they're just like,
I know,
like against the wall, like, like why are you doing
so
that?
creepy, right? So fucking creepy.
But like, there's no teeth or fangs or anything. It's just a person doing that.
Oh.
A lot of those. I think one of them had a weird little chat, like a on the way out.
Do it not like a wolf would howl. They do it just like Brian just did it. Like they'll be like standing there, like all quiet, like ooh, like
yeah, like I said, that scene when Steve was talking about the guy and the girl finally fucked in the hotel room. The one main wolf guy, he's just like sniffing in the air,
outside.
And he goes, woo.
We knew about it, man. None of them sounded like werewolves at all. And these crazy gypsies that are just dancing around the whole fucking time. Like, they never stop dancing. I'm like, what do they do in this city?
Yeah,
it's like just a city full of werewolves.
It's like folk horror, right? It's like folk horror.
Yeah,
right?
It's like a city full of werewolves, and they all just dance all the time. But yeah, no, I had a great time with it. It was bonkers from start to finish.
They say weird shit too. Like I couldn't believe they were like, all right, you brother, go with this midget guy, and you're gonna go infiltrate this shit and like do like a kill mission. And you're like, what? And the midget guy starts taking people out, and like the brother is nonchalant about it. He's like, well, that's a new way to kill someone. And I'm like, you're just cool with this shit? Like, you're just like cool with just killing people and shit?
Like he knew this guy was a midget assassin.
He does have his moments. As bad at acting as he was,
Uh-huh.
When it's time to kill some werewolves, he is firing from the hip, just bow, 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 bow.
Yeah.
But like when the lady starts chanting and making everybody turn into werewolves and like hurting everybody else's ears, and then midget's running, and I can't believe he was keeping up with that brother pretty good. You know what I mean? Like the brother was booking and that man was keeping up with him. Like he was running his ass off, but then he trips or whatever, and the earplugs come out, and he's like, "Go! You gotta get out of here! Run!
I lost my earplug.
I can't move." But then, as soon as the brother gets up after 2 minutes of sitting there going like, "Huh? What do you mean?" Then he fucking leaves, and then the midget gets up and runs away. I'm like, you could have just done that 2 minutes ago. Got the fuck up and kept running. But now you wasted all this time, and now she's on your ass, and now your eyes are gonna go pop.
Yeah, that was a weird werewolf power, but a great scene, I thought, with the eyes exploding. I mean, that was
a cool practical effect.
Yeah.
I like that, and I like the weird thing with the monster at the end going into the practical head of the priest.
Yeah.
It looks.
Yeah, I just sort of made a face when that happened. I was like, is that?
Oh yeah, dude, and then the priest's eyes like roll in the back of his head. I was like,
is he fucking that bear? All right. Scores, Steve. What do you think?
I'm gonna give this one a 5.
Okay.
4. 4 on 10. 4 on 10. 4 on 10.
That was my original score 15 minutes in.
4 on 10. I'm giving
it. Changed though.
Brian, you gonna bring us up?
Hell yeah, this is an easy 8 on 10.
No way.
Steve, remember the whole end credits?
The end credits was I've
6 on 10.
There you go.
Even when they have
6 on 10. The end credits
scenes,
brought it up to 6 on 10. 6 on 10.
Even when they have like after credit scenes in Marvel movies, at this point, I don't always stick around. I watch this whole one.
Oh yeah.
Because Steve, you brought up how good they edited it, like the old guy that licks his lips and then it's just her tearing her top off all
you know what, it's true, the editing was shit throughout the whole movie, but they fucking nailed it in the credits, man.
Good
pinpoint accuracy.
Shit editing.
Lance?
7.5.
7.5. All right.
Great movie.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna give this one an 8 too. I thought it was hilarious, man. It was just I had a really good time with it. All right. Any last words?
You guys just wait till we get to the next couple.
I'm excited about the marsupial one now.
So how many?
Sounds gross.
How many
probably.
are in the list? How many?
There is.
What do we got here?
To look forward to?
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Okay. 4 episodes. Maybe we can get Al on one, Brian.
Yeah.
As always.
Most of them look like they're on Tubi.
we want to thank you guys for listening to another episode of The Horror Returns. We would love to hear your feedback and ideas. You can always reach us at thehorrorreturns@gmail.com. You can find us at thehorrorreturns.com and follow all of our social media from there. Next week, we're going to go back to the theater for The Monkey, and also check out 2013's The Monkey's Paw. What is that, Brian?
It's a movie.
I think I remember that one.
I've seen that one.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
First watch for me. Brian's not saying anything, so what is The Monkey's Paw?
It's a movie about a monkey's paw.
It's like
it's
like Wishmaster.
Be careful what you wish for.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. So, Steve, until The Horror Returns again.
Good night.